Welcome to Across the Globe. Today we will learn about URL variables in routing. URL variables in a Flask application serve as placeholders within a URL to capture specific values, which are then transmitted to the routing mechanisms of the application. This functionality enables the creation of dynamic URLs that can adapt and respond to various inputs. For instance, a Flask application for an e-commerce website can utilize URL variables to handle product IDs, enabling users to access specific product pages simply by changing the value in the URL. By incorporating URL variables, developers can enhance the flexibility and interactivity of their Flask applications to deliver a more tailored user experience. Flask uses angled brackets in the root decorator to define URL variables. The variable name within the brackets corresponds to an argument in the view function. For instance, in the code snippet provided, the /u/username route expects a variable called username, which is then passed to the show user profile view function as an argument. This mechanism allows for dynamic handling of different user profiles based on the value of the URL variable. To access a URL variable in a route, you create a parameter in the view function with the same name as the variable. This allows you to retrieve the value of the URL variable within the function. For instance, in a Flask route like @app.route/post_int postID, the postID variable can be accessed in the related view function as shown in the example. When a user navigates to a URL like /post123, the showPost function in the example will display post123 because the value of postID is extracted from the URL variable. URL variables are valuable in acquiring extra information from URLs. In conjunction with query parameters, they enable gathering more data. For instance, in a web application for searching products, URL variables could be used to specify product categories, while query parameters could be employed to filter results further. This combination enhances the flexibility and information retrieval capabilities of web applications efficiently. URL variables in routing enable Flask applications to process varying inputs and generate dynamic responses. By incorporating these variables, developers can build applications that adapt to user interactions and deliver personalized content. For instance, in an e-commerce website, URL variables could be utilized to display unique product pages based on dynamic product IDs. This flexibility enhances user experience and aids in creating more interactive and versatile web applications. URL variables in routing are like parameters in a function, where they allow us to pass information to a route, just like how functions allow us to pass arguments to a parameter. Just like how changing the parameters in a function can produce different outcomes, changing the URL variables in routing can lead to different pages being displayed. By utilizing URL variables in routing, we can create more dynamic and interactive web applications that respond to user input and display personalized content. Hey Code Conquerors, ready to level up? With TechLearn ATG, showcase your skills with official course certificates. Just visit our site and start. Need that extra boost? Get tailored learning, 24/7 support, and expert guidance. Coding smarter, growing faster, and making learning fun. Go to our website across the globe, www.atg.world. URL variables in routing allow us to create dynamic routes in a Flask application by capturing values specified in the URL path. In the provided code snippet, we demonstrate the use of URL variables in routing to handle different types of requests and generate dynamic responses. The app.route decorator specifies the URL pattern for each route, with variable parts enclosed in angular brackets. These variables act as placeholders that capture specific values from the URL path and pass them as arguments to the corresponding view functions. For instance, the username route captures the username variable from the URL and passes it to the show user profile function, which then generates a personalized message for the user. This mechanism enables us to retrieve user-specific data and display dynamic content based on the URL input. Similarly, the /product/int product ID route expects an integer value as the product ID and retrieves details about the product with that ID. By defining the data type of the variable, int product ID, we can enforce type constraints and ensure the correct input format enhancing the reliability of our application. In a real-world scenario, URL variables in routing can be utilized to create user profiles, product pages, search functionalities, and more, where dynamic content generation based on URL parameters is crucial. By leveraging URL variables effectively, we can build flexible and interactive web applications that respond dynamically to user input and deliver tailored experiences. URL variables in routing are a powerful feature used in many real-world applications to handle dynamic content and personalize user experiences. One industrial example where URL variables in routing are commonly used is in e-commerce platforms. For instance, in an online marketplace like Amazon, when a user searches for a specific product or clicks on a product category, the URL often contains variables such as product IDs, category IDs, or search keywords. By parsing these URL variables in the routing mechanism, the application can dynamically fetch and display relevant product information to the user. Another example can be seen in content management systems, CMS, like WordPress. When a user navigates to a particular post or page on a WordPress website, the URL typically includes the post page title or ID as a variable. By leveraging URL variables in routing, the CMS can fetch the corresponding content based on the URL parameters and render it for the user to view. In conclusion, URL variables in routing play a crucial role in creating dynamic and personalized web applications across various industries, allowing developers to tailor the user experience based on the specific parameters provided in the URL. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next video.